Intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
You're welcome, and thanks very much for joining us. It's another fantastic day, and I tell you, when you work with some of the most amazing people in the public service, I'm grateful that I'm now in a better spirit because of a conversation that just transpired. It lifts you up, and now an opportunity to speak to our friends from UCCI to tell us, how we can graduate, how we can actually add value. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Talk Today is reminding you.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email Talk Today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard. And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us, and to all who, make it happen and make a positive difference, thank you. Because you never know, that life you save, and that life that you touch with the words that you share could be so instructive. And to Dr. Livingston Smith and Dean Bless, Dean Melinda, with this greatest respect to Dr. Smith. To you first, ma'am. Welcome. How are you today?
I am fantastic. A slight hoarse throat, but I'm doing well.
Doing well.
Doing very well.
We won't keep you long. We won't cause you to strain and stress the throat any more than your lectures and your students demand of you. So, Dr. Smith, the heavy lifting comes to you, sir.
I don't know, boy, but it's really exciting to be on the program, Dwayne. We're talking about the importance of keeping in touch with change, preparing for change, making sure that we are, we can add value to our organizations.
Yes.
And the way to do that is to be involved in continuous education, right? It's critical that each person understands, doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter what field you're in, doesn't matter how educated you are, there are still opportunities to engage in continuous education. Why? Because things are always changing. Technology changes. Today we talk about AI. And so we have to be constantly updating our skills. New skills have to be brought into place, new knowledge, in order for us to remain relevant. That's vital. We have to remain relevant. If not, we're left behind. And so what we discuss today will be opportunities that UCCI offers. We have graduate programs of the highest caliber. We have master's program in human resource management. We even offer, Dwayne, a world-renowned MBA program coming out of the Commonwealth of the Caribbean. The Commonwealth of Learning, Executive MBA program, and also the MPA program, Masters in Public Administration. All right, we want to explore those within the context of the need for each person to not be content with where you are, and the UCCI has some advantages that we want to just delve into today.
I'm really grateful because I think many times, and even on an individual basis, we may not even know what is available. We may know generally, but we have never explored it sufficiently to make that that leap. Change, they say, is the only constant. We hear terms like change agents, but yet change for many can be so challenging and daunting. And by the same token, for many people, that idea that change terrifies. Dean Belinda, I think change for you and I, as long as we're driving the change, we're okay with it, right?
We are.
All right. Well, I'm going to be mindful that, as you shared, and I pray that you and your colleagues and all of us who are under the weather, a good friend of mine, likewise, she's having the same issue. I think what it is, though, we haven't changed.
No, I think the environment is changing, and that is what is causing. But I want to thank Radio Cayman for having us here today. And one of the things that I want to be talking about are our graduate programs. So I think for many of the Cayman community, you might have heard about our undergraduate programs, but not too much about our graduate programs. And as Dr. Livingston was talking about change, I think it's time for us to change that and for persons to hear more about our programs.
Can I maybe start at somewhere, not midpoint, but not quite at the end?
Yeah.
Many of us would appreciate, there is a way to get education, and once we acquire it, the process and the like. But we always don't appreciate the impact that it has on us. Yes, it may be upward mobility in our careers. It may be for personal edification and the like. But that process, that step. So to you, as we go through our discussion and how and who can qualify in the criteria and all those things, maybe share too, it's not just about added employment opportunities or more remuneration and the like, but maybe there are other things. And then the process of actually, how do we take the classes, do the assignments, what they look like, and it's challenging.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know, that unknown may terrify and paralyze. And then once we've completed the thing, that wasn't as bad as I thought.
Exactly.
Right.
So maybe we should start at how you get into the program.
Okay.
Right? So for the Commonwealth Executive Master of Business Administration and the Commonwealth Executive Master of Public Administration, the admission requirements are fairly simple. As with many master's program, one of the requirements would be a bachelor's degree. But with these executive master's program, yes, you can enter with your bachelor's degree, but you can also enter based on your experience. So if you have a minimum of 5 years of managerial level experience and don't have to be in business, right? That's one of the pathways. So yes, you can come in with your bachelor's, but you can also come in with your experience. For some, if you have maybe a minimum of 2 years post-qualification experience, that will also be considered. We also want you to have a good knowledge of English language at the postgraduate level. But that is the first step.
Okay.
With the MHRM, we want you to come in with similar requirements. So we are pretty flexible. And we'll talk a bit more about our prior learning assessment, because that is one of the major ways many persons who are out there can gain credit into these programs.
All right, let's take our first break, and then we'll come back to our listeners. It's one thing to want something, there's another thing to want it so much that you actually make the commitment. If you want to say sacrifice, well, whatever that word is, because once you get it, and it's education and it's knowledge, it's equalizing, it's empowering, it actually may lead to greater reward, not just money, but you got to start somewhere. So we're going to give you the pathway.
Right.
All right, stay tuned, join us right after the break.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, helping people plan for retirement is at the heart of what we do. To help improve our member experience, we would like to receive feedback from our members and employers. Send us your feedback on the overall experience and suggestions for improvements by email at pensions@chamberpension.ky or by calling 743-9125 or 745-9130. We are committed to improving member experience, which helps you make more informed decisions that lead to better pension saving outcomes. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We are here for you.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, renew.
More than a mantra, these words are a blueprint for building a sustainable Earth.
A sustainable Cayman.
So, starting April 19th, join Foster's and Price Right.
With your purchase of $75 or more, you'll be eligible to win a free recycling bin while supplies last to help give our island a breath of renewal.
Putting Earth first isn't just for Earth Month, it's every month.
Learn more on our social channels at Foster's Cayman on Facebook and Instagram.
Or go to fosters.ky.
Foster's, greener because we care.
If you're a parent, you know that providing your child with a quality early childhood education can be expensive. However, the Ministry of Education offers financial assistance through its Early Childhood Assistance Program to help qualifying Caymanian families cover the costs at registered early childhood settings. Visit our online application portal at moeapplications.gov.ky to learn more and get started. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for the opportunity to always encourage us through education and continued learning to be so positioned that we allow ourselves to not just be courageous, but have a sense of conviction and confidence and purpose. So to Dean Belinda Blessed and Dr. Linson Smith, thanks for coming across. We're talking about some of the graduate programs, and even for some of us who are maybe no longer 18 or even in their 20s or 30s or even 40s. Unlike Dr. Smith, who's probably just in his 30s, right?
You're correct.
But you were sharing that through the Commonwealth of Learning, the executive programs. There were a number. So Dean Belinda, help us.
So let's let me give you a background first about the Commonwealth of Learning. So the Commonwealth of Learning is hosted by the Government of Canada and their headquarters in British Columbia. Commonwealth of Learning, otherwise called COL, is the only intergovernmental organization that is solely concerned with the promotion and development of distance education and open learning. And their mission is to help member states and institutions use distance learning and technologies for expanding access to education and training. So they are looking at education, and our university is part of the consortium. And through them, we're offering these two programs.
The MPA, the Masters in Public Admin, and then the MBA.
And the MBA.
Okay.
And then the MHRM, this was developed by the university in collaboration with the Cayman Island Society of Human Resource Professionals.
Okay.
And that program has been one of our most successful master's program, and many of the HR managers that are in many institutions today here in Cayman came through that program.
If I might ask, and I'm sure it's the same in every jurisdiction, but it's probably from the instruction I get from Dr. Smith, and both directly and by sort of observation within the Caribbean region, and in particular in Cayman, we want to know about things, and if it's not from elsewhere, we don't always seem to give it value. So with these three different programs, one from the perspective of the employer, you got this degree, how did you see it, how is it perceived, and then from the perspective of the potential applicant who is going to be committing some resource, time, money, and otherwise to pursue added studies, where's the value add? Is this thing, what's the words they use, recognized, accredited, how is it respected, and could we perhaps look at that and maybe ask so that people understand that this is a commitment, but then you get good dividends from your investment?
You do. And one of the things about the SEMBA and the SEMPA is that this program is common to many countries. So Asia, Africa, Europe, we have universities there also offering this program.
Okay.
So there's this commonality, and our students are also getting that international experience. So for the employer, what they are now going to get are persons who are receiving high quality curriculum. They are getting recognition, and the programs are credible, right? The students, the fee structure is very affordable. Our executive master's program, that's $10,000, and they can do their classes in 1 year, and then they have a few months to do research. The same thing for our HRM program, which is a bit more, but it is 14,500, right? But they also, there's this 18 months, so hence the additional cost. But within that program, those students are able to do HR certification courses, right? So when you think about the programs, affordable fee structure, we focus on open and distance learning. A lot of our courses are online. We provide tutors for our students. So if they're having difficulty with any areas, we give them a tutor. So it's very personalized.
Right.
The materials we try to, even though many of them are international, we also localize them. So we look at Cayman, and we have a credit transfer. So if you do that, those persons who do the masters can also transfer their credits to other partner institutions if they want to go on and do their doctoral studies. It is credible, and why not?
Why not? I was going to say, why not? If it could just, because there are three programs, two, the MBA and the Masters of Public Admin, that offered through, you say, the Commonwealth of Learning out of by the government of Canada. That one is sort of international acclaim, accredited and recognized. So the same program, I want to make sure I understand, that you would do through UCCI, you would be the same program being done, whether you say,
By
Singapore or
other
the Asia, it's the same thing. So the curriculum, the instruction, the materials, it's the same. It's just a matter of where you're doing it.
Right. Because what CAL did, they developed the program. They want to widen access to all the citizens in the Commonwealth and, other member nations. And they are promoting this education. They are the one. What they do is they get writers to develop these programs. So if a student from UCCI should decide to go to Singapore, they can access the program there. If they decide to go, let us say they were going to Africa and they were going to Nigeria, Botswana.
So anywhere in the Commonwealth?
Anywhere in the Commonwealth.
Okay.
The program is offered there.
And at UCCI, I'm glad you emphasized it. Doesn't matter where, it's the same program.
It's the same program, same curriculum, same assessment.
1 year?
1 year.
Starting what, September?
Starting September.
And is that 1 year in terms of 12 calendar months, or 1 year in government accounting where it may be 4 years? It's just funny, Dr. Smith, you know it's going to happen.
So we have the fall semester, spring semester, and then we have summer. Right? So when you look at it, we're looking at several different modules. And one of the fantastic thing about the MBA and the MPA is that persons can enter the program and challenge any 2 courses. And if they challenge, we give them an exam. So you come in and start and say, I've done policy analysis already. We give you the exam, you do the exam, you pass, you don't have to do that. You move on to another.
And that could shorten your time.
Shorten your time.
But if you try it and you don't quite make the grade,
you enter the
You just enter it and you go.
And you go.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained, right?
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
All right. So we know the semesters, and I think the school year ends for the summer session sometime in end of June-ish sometime.
For the masters, they are a bit different.
Okay.
So because they're doing so many courses, and they want to complete in a year, we give them the full 4 months. So it would be September to December, January to April, and then May to August.
Okay.
So they, at that
12 calendar months.
And during that time, they do research methods. So by the end of that year, they would have some sort of paper that they need to write on some sort of topic.
All right.
So we give them another maybe 6 months in which they can do their research and do their defense.
So they'll do a thesis, a dissertation for it.
Right.
But the academic instruction is in that 12 months starting in September. And then they put together their research and their paper. There's probably an instructor helping them to guide.
Right.
And
we do have a supervisor. And then, and that is also preparing them for the next step. Because many of them might want to do a
PhD or something.
Exactly.
Some post.
Exactly.
Right.
And that is different than some of the other institutions.
I was, cause sometimes you're left to sink or swim. Now, and I appreciate you sharing this. I know even myself sometimes we make excuses. We have other obligations, from family to community service to church to everything. And they're justifiable, right? But getting started, that saying, the longest journey begins with a single step. No, I think sometimes it's even before the single step. You got to have the mindset to get there. Before I ask any more, Dr. Smith, do you want to maybe weigh in and share anything?
Oh, definitely. I'm liking the idea of all these master's programs, we call graduate programs, and persons shouldn't be, thinking I can't manage them. No, that's not the idea at all. As you said, we just come into it, get information, and begin. And what we have done also, as Dr. Belinda mentioned, is that we have something called prior learning assessment, a critical addition to what we do at UCCI. Because, Dwayne, learning doesn't only take place in the formal classroom setting. All right, learning takes place at the workplace. You have done a course before, you have run a business, things like those. You have done some studies before that. What we try to do is to assess all of those experiences and say, okay, we're going to give you something for that. So you come into the program with a faster completion rate.
Okay.
You see?
And then, so how, if I'm listening, Dr. Belinda shared, you can challenge it. So for those who may be familiar with some university settings, they have a CLEP thing. You can take a test and they give it to you. So it's the same thing. Here's a module, here's a subject. If you pass it, you're good. And this is a pass-fail sort of thing. Or okay. And then how does that differ, or how is that like the PLA, the prior learning assessment? So can that...
Okay. So prior learning assessment, the challenge exam that I just spoke about is just one aspect of it.
Right.
So a challenge exam is seen as a prior learning assessment.
Okay.
But then there are others. Someone can come, let us say they have a professional certification. We call that training evaluation, where we evaluate the training that you have done. And then there's another, which is portfolio development. And I think that's the one that we stress quite a bit at the university, where we say to an individual, you have worked, you have testimonials from your boss, you have done several LinkedIn learning, you have done in-house training. What we want you to do is put a portfolio together, right? So you're going to look at, and I'll go back to our graduate program. So you look at our HR program, and you see that we offer something called training and development as a course. And you say to yourself, but I've done training and development already. You get all the documentation that will prove to us that you have done that. You then, but by the way, you have to apply to the university first as a student, right? So you come to us and you say, in your program, we see training and development. We have done that already. Our PLA coordinator will say, okay, provide us a portfolio of all your training and development courses, experience, and we will do an assessment. So we look at our course, we look at our objectives, and then we assess accordingly. Once we see that you have done all the competencies, you get a pass, you get the credit, you do not need to do training and development.
And as you shared, learning is not only in-person instruction in a classroom, a formal setting, it is also life experience on the job. And here's a way to demonstrate that you actually know more than you give yourself credit for.
Exactly.
I commend Ms. Norma many times. She keeps saying to us, the courses you do, the little things, make sure you get a notation that you've done it. Now I see why you have that portfolio. You can present and say, oh, I've done that. With the HR, just from interviewing people, they actually know more than they are sort of given credit for. But because we don't know how to market, we don't know how to document, we don't know how that value add of that thing that we have, I say that to ask, when we come back, can we look at some of the modules? Maybe we take the MPA, for instance, so you can do some of the NBA and share, but also when we need to apply and how we need to apply.
Okay.
All right. And then at 1 o'clock, we continue a discussion on education. The Office of Education Standards will come in. And we got a gift for our listeners at some point before the show closes. This is a real life gift. It's a pair. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Hey K-Man, this is Pastor Elson Ebanks. I want to invite you to come out and join us on Saturday, May 18th, 2024 for March for Jesus. I remember those events from years past, and I'm so happy we're doing them again. So join us on Saturday, May 18th, March for Jesus, celebrating our Lord Jesus Christ.
For more information, visit Christian.ky and click on the March for Jesus tab.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Reduce, reuse, recycle, renew.
More than a mantra, these words are a blueprint for building a sustainable Earth.
A sustainable Cayman.
So, starting April 19th, join Foster's and Price Right.
With your purchase of $75 or more, you'll be eligible to win a free recycling bin while supplies last to help give our island a breath of renewal.
Putting Earth first isn't just for Earth Month, it's every month.
Learn more on our social channels at Foster's Cayman on Facebook and Instagram.
Or go to fosters.ky.
Foster's, greener because we care.
The Department of Environmental Health would like to advise the public that the annual bulk waste collection will once again take place in May in preparation for hurricane season and replacing the traditional year-end collection. Residents are urged to prepare and separate their items ahead of the week assigned for collection in their respective areas. Any bulk waste that is put out after the announced dates will not be collected. Household appliances, furniture, and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to the DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials, or electronics. For more information on the bulk waste collection, please contact the DEH's Solid Waste Management section at 949-6696.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And Dean Belinda Blessed Vincent, together with Dr. Livingston Smith from UCCI. We're talking about some graduate programs. And I'm encouraged that you're not just talking about the student who just finished or is about to finish an undergrad program. You're talking about a prospective student who may be well advanced in her career, who just have a lot of life experience, a lot of practical experience, done some other training and courses, but never really felt that had earned the credentials to do something like a graduate program, master's program. From what you shared, sounds like that might actually be possible still.
It is possible.
All right. One question that I've heard it asked many times from many people, not so much in the recent years, all prior to that century of 2020, because it seemed like it was a century ago. But people would see something that said EMBA, and seemingly, from my sort of interpretation, it would appear that the perception was that E before it made it somehow perceived as less than, because it was this thing that was earned in that way. So the executive MBA, for instance, didn't seem to have the same caliber and value and credence and credibility and, accreditation. Is that just an unfortunate perception? Is it actually a little better? Does it matter? Is it a difference?
The executive The fourth is because the programs are usually designed for busy, working professionals.
Okay.
We know that many persons, once they leave that undergraduate program, many of them go ahead and find jobs, especially here in the Cayman community, right? And yes, we've heard about the MBA and the MPA. There is not much difference. The difference here, when we add the executive to it, is because we want to say to our students or potential students, hey, this course is for you, that very busy professional out there.
Right. Would it be similar to back in the day we had polytechnics? That my perception is that they brought you in, they trained you to what you wanted to learn, and all the other subjects that people thought were maybe today's language are electives. They were good to know, but they didn't really contribute to the core of your learning.
Exactly.
They removed them so you can focus on the thing you want to focus on. That is
a good response. Yes, because and if you look at our programs, let us look at both programs and look at what the core courses are. So when you look at the core courses, we have enterprise information systems and digital strategy. So we have been talking about AI, we're talking about new technologies. This program centers, this course speaks to that, because we're in a digital world. We talk about management in organizations, people and talent management, operations management, economic environment of business, new public management and governance. And that one is done by the MPA students. Data analysis and decision making, marketing management, accounting issues, and financial management for business decisions. Those are core courses. And then each stream, so if you're doing the MBA, you have to do strategic management and quality management. If you're doing the MPA, you have to do public policy and development planning and administration. And we go even further. We're saying to you, listen, you can also do 3 electives, right? And we have a list of electives from business ethics to electronic commerce, project management, policy analysis, etc. Right?
That person could look at those courses that they think are not only of interest, but specifically tailored to what they might be doing.
Exactly.
The person in the ministries in public policy may find that. Those core courses that you referenced earlier, the enterprise information, the data analysis, and the like, they are the same courses. I just want to make sure for both the MPA and MBA.
Except that for the MBA, they would do data. They wouldn't do C6, which would be
management, governance. Okay, which makes sense.
Which would be the new public management and governance.
So it's very similar, the core subjects. So not unlike where you see some courses, there are these core, and they cross the divide no matter what you're studying. And then as you take subsequent modules, for want of a better word, then you become much more tailored to your specific study. All right.
So you'll have the MBA and the MPA, they're sitting in the same class, right? And the only time that they would differ is when they actually do their specialist compulsory courses.
Dean Belinda, from that perspective, you say sit in the class. Is it then that, how are classes and courses offered?
Okay, so students have an option, right? One of the things that the university offer is something called HighFlex. So students have the option to sit in a classroom and see the tutor, or they can be online and the tutor is in the class, but the students are able to access the course through Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
So it's similar for the graduates.
So for argument's sake, this course is at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. You come in if it's scheduled in person. There may be students there, the professors there, or you, for whatever reason, may have to be at your desk because you have a meeting right after. You can log on, there it is, and participate.
And you can participate.
It's a live course.
It's a live course.
Whether you're in person or whether you're online.
Right. And then the students are also given all the material.
Okay.
Everything. So if they are absent on that day, they have the modules. So, it is also self-paced, so they can actually, read. They have the tutors number. They can call a tutor. They can make appointment.
Okay.
We're very flexible.
One other question. I mean, I have many more. Maybe I should come back on. And I'm hoping that this will encourage more of us, right? From that perspective, we know the modules. We can get information online. We know when we have to apply. So I'm going to ask the deadline first off. Because we're talking about September, and this is...
Right.
April is already
And
just
one of
about
the
gone.
reasons why we're on, guys, is because we want people to apply for the local scholarship, right? Go to the scholarship website. Please apply. We have a fall cohort starting in September. We want to see you there. And what you would need to do now is go on the UCCI website and fill out the application form, because I'm sure scholarship is going to ask you for a letter showing that you have some sort of conditional admission to the university.
Right.
So we are saying to you after this show, right, go online. Do it now.
Or they can even call you.
They can.
Yeah.
623-0535. That's me. I will take you through the application.
Or they can email Dr. Belinda, call her, she's good to go.
623-0525.
535.
623-0535.
Right.
Okay. And Dean Belinda, from that, I mean, you just referenced, so Dr. Shari Smith, the manager of the scholarship secretary, I was just on the other day, she reminded us that this would be a local scholarship.
It would be
that deadline closes the end of this month. So we're halfway through. There are things we need that we don't have to worry about getting them by then, but there are things we will have to. That communication with UCCI to know
That's
that
important.
you intend to do it, there are a few other things. All right, so there's still time, but time waits for no man. Maybe for women, but for no man. All right. And our closing thoughts, and if a phone call will help between now and whichever, we'll facilitate more. We can get more information from the UCCI website.
They can.
So UCCI.edu.
Just click on graduate programs and all the information is there.
Dr. Smith?
Yes, it's quite an absorbing discussion. Dr. Melinda has been carrying through, and Dwayne, we're saying don't hesitate. Do it now. As we speak, do it now. Think about all the advantages of doing graduate work, the specialized knowledge that one gets, the career advancement that it provides, and the professional credibility that having a degree like this offers yourself and the organization, the networking that affords, certainly the resources. And Dr. Belinda spoke to the global perspective. That's crucial. So we are in the Cayman Island, but what we're offering is something that is grounded in Cayman, but has an international flair, an international perspective, and that's critical. And I also know that there's a lot of emphasis on leadership development in these courses, and also just keeping in touch with changes so that we remain current and vital.
All right. Well, certainly reach out to us, and as we go through, maybe we'll find ways. Dr. Belinda, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
If you don't mind, I'll remind others. I'll even personally reach out to 2 people I know, and I'll incentivize them.
Sounds good.
All right, UCCI is right across the corner, heavily funded, supported by government with some fantastic, programs. And here are 2 more, including a 3rd one with the human resource management. That's at the graduate level. All right, we'll tell you more when we come back, though. The good team from the Office of Education Standards will be our guests. We've got a couple of things we want to share. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
Wednesday's John A. Cumber Primary School's STEM Fair 2024 allowed students to have a deep dive into the world of science, technology, engineering, and math. The fair, under the theme Caring for Our World, brought together exhibits that explored everything from animal care to Earth and space mysteries. People in 4 U.S. states were left unable to make 911 calls on Wednesday night after widespread system issues. Many services have now been restored after reports that lines went down for call centers across Nevada, Nebraska, South Dakota, and Texas. Federal officials have previously warned that the move to digital systems by emergency services has brought with it the risk of cyber attacks, but a cause of last night's problems is yet to be revealed. Ukraine's prime minister has told the BBC there will be, quote, a third world war if Ukraine loses its conflict with Russia, as he urges the U.S. Congress to pass a long-stalled foreign aid bill. He expressed, quote, careful optimism that U.S. lawmakers would pass the hotly contested measure, which has $61 billion earmarked for Kyiv. The House of Representatives is set to vote on the package this Saturday. The proposal includes funding for Israel as well as the Indo-Pacific. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
More news available at www.radiokman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
HSA's Urgent Care Clinic is now open 7 days per week to serve you better. Visit our dedicated team at Urgent Care Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and weekends and public holidays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. No appointment necessary. If you are experiencing non-life-threatening symptoms and conditions such as the cold and flu, sprains and cuts, earaches, nausea and vomiting, visit Urgent Care's walk-in clinic at the main entrance of the Georgetown Hospital, now open every day. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
On August 19, 1948, 24 Georgetown women sent a historic letter to the commissioner, which stated,
Sir, we the undersigned residents of the District of Georgetown, having examined and obtained legal advice on the Constitution of the Cayman Islands, find nothing therein which denies a woman the fundamental human right of taking part in deciding who shall govern us. Therefore, we declare that it is our intention to exercise our constitutional right to vote today, August 19, 1948, according to our conscience, in the election of vestrymen for the District of Georgetown. Should this privilege be denied to us by the officials in charge of the election, we shall demand the government to give just reasons for making of no effect the laws it has sworn to uphold. We have the honor to be, sir.
Although no women voted in the 1948 election, on May 29, 1957, 358 women from 7 districts signed similar requests. And on December 8, 1958, the Sex Disqualification Removal Bill passed into law.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And I hope and pray that I always do what my parents expect of me and what they've instructed. To be that son that they raised, to be respectful and resourceful. One that's so, positioned and purposeful. Well, when we talk about education, it inspires and encourages, and it also causes. So, as Ms. Althea Edwards Booth gets settled, and our colleague Ms. Jessica Jackson, ladies, thanks very much. Education is something that not just fascinates, it causes you to at times to feel a bit of trepidation because you're not quite sure it's going to be a test, but it exhilarates you because you come away with knowing something. I'll give us an example. We had two fantastic gentlemen on yesterday. We're talking about alternative energy and licensing and the like. And listeners are messaging in. And one by one, little things that they learn. There were things that they were sort of under particular perception and misconception. And they go, oh, I didn't know. So if we listen with intent to understand, we might actually at one point be able to respond in a way that informs and inspires, and who knows, might just cause us. So I'm excited to hear more about the Office of Education Standards. So, Ms. Althea, to you, welcome. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and thank you again for having us.
I'm Ms. Jessica Jackson, her colleague. To you, welcome.
Thank you very much for having us.
All right, it's a pleasure. If I might, Ms. Althea, what is, for those of us who do not know, what is the Office of Education Standards?
Great. So the Office of Education Standards is an established department of the Cayman Islands government. We fall under the purview of the portfolio of the civil service. Our primary mandate is to quality assure evaluate, and report on the standards of practice in our educational institutions. Our core mandate is pretty much outlined in the Education Act 2016 and the accompanying regulations. Obviously, the Act sets out a statutory period for the conduct of inspections, and that is a 4-year period. As a result of a ministerial directive in 2018, that period was reduced to 2 years. So we now currently have 2-year cycles of inspection. We use the compulsory provision, the Successful Schools and Achieving Students 2 inspection framework, which pretty much sets out the performance standards and the quality indicators that we use to assess the quality of provision in our schools. And I might just add that just last year, we actually developed a bespoke framework for the early childhood sector, and we're very proud of that, obviously. So all our work, the inspection frameworks, the inspection reports for schools that we would have inspected to date are available on the Office of Education Standards website, www.oes.gov.ky.
Sounds like a song, man. But with that, I guess if we are either parents and or students, or if we are just driving down, we see some schools that have, a placard, or they have a signage out front, good, excellent, fair, whatever it is. That is then as a result of the inspection by your team?
So there are 4 possible outcomes when a school is inspected. We use a 4-point scale. The school may be judged as excellent, good, satisfactory, or weak. And I think the signs that you alluded to are for schools that would have been judged good or excellent, would obviously be showcasing that achievement with a sign, judged a good school by the Office of Education Standards, or judged an excellent school by the Office of Education Standards.
I'll leave it to the politicians and the policymakers to determine whether those excellent, good, satisfactory, and weak are the appropriate nomenclature. But Ms. Jessica, having inspection does well for both the student, but for that parent who is looking at the school, and how is the school performing?
Right, and I think an important point to add on to what Ms. Althea has said is that overall schools do get a judgment, excellent, good, satisfactory, or weak. However, in our reports, you can really go down into detail in terms of all of the key quality indicators and all of the key aspects that we look for throughout an inspection. So we have 6 quality indicators. They all have a number of key aspects, and within our reports you will be able to see the judgment or the evaluation for each one of those quality indicators. So while there is one overall judgment in those reports, you'll get a lot more detail in terms of the individual important aspects that are going into making that overall judgment. So it's important for parents to really not just look at the overall judgment, but to actually look at the reports to get that breadth of information.
So by that, then, it's possible that once we look at the report, the school may have a particular assigned outcome of excellent, good, and the like, but there may be an area or areas where they're excellent, or they're much more sort of celebrated than what the final outcome was.
Precisely. So every school and every early childhood center, they're all going to have key strengths and areas of recommendation. And even the very best schools are always looking at ways that they can continually improve as well. So even those that are excellent, there will still be recommendations made by the inspection team in order to help them continue to improve the provision that they are offering.
If I then may ask then, two things. One, we look at the assessment and what that's like, so we want to understand that. But there's a level of public consultation and engagement. What is that? Why is that necessary? And then tied to that, we have, I call them preschools. I know there's different terms, and we got early childhood, right?
Early childhood settings.
And then they go all the way up through, primary school, middle school, and high school. Does this apply to all of those? And does it even apply to, say, postgraduate, UCCI, BS1, ICCI, law school? Or does it stop at the, secondary schools?
So the education law provides for the inspections of all institutions at all phases. But obviously, given the small size of the inspectorate and given the priorities that we have now, we have historically focused on inspections of early childhood centers, compulsory provision, primary, secondary schools. We have also inspected SciFec and UCCI, the dual entry program. But the law allows for the breadth of educational provision to be inspected by the OES.
Okay. And then, sorry, Ms. Jessica, if you want to jump in at any point, please, address. But when we look at it, because many times I'm thinking from the perspective of PTAs and parental engagement, we should support a school, not just the fundraisers, not dictate how lessons should be delivered and tell the teacher what to teach, but be that partner if the school, the home, and the child is to be on the same page. But when you're doing sort of these inspections, how is the general public involved or engaged, or are they?
So part of the inspection framework for both compulsory schools and early childhood, one of the quality indicators, 6.3 precisely, is links with parents and the community. So we are looking at the links that the school has both with their parents. So what are the relationships like? How do they get parents involved in the school or in the center? And then also, what are their links with the wider community? Because we know there is so much learning that can happen outside of the school, or inviting the wider community into the school as well to complement what is in the curriculum and what teachers are doing. So that is part of the inspection framework for both compulsory and early childhood.
Okay. And I think, every sort of job, so to speak, the employee is given a handbook or job descriptions and then go. But for it to be effective, they may need to ask colleagues. So with that sort of analogy, is it a way then that you talk about rewriting the compulsory provision for your inspection framework? Can we participate in that as part of your ongoing initiatives for this year, or we just what happens?
Absolutely. No, the OES has always focused on continual improvement. The last iteration of the inspection framework was done in 2020. We do recognize post-COVID, obviously, that the whole dynamics of education has changed. We are cognizant of trends and practices in international research, and we want to ensure that the framework is current, it's adaptive, and it is sustainable. So with that said, we have actually embarked on a rewrite of the framework for compulsory provision that is successful schools and achieving students too. So as a consequence, we have engaged through a variety of formats and media the wider public as well as our key stakeholders in this review process. So we have issued a series of online surveys that we have encouraged school leaders, teachers, parents, students to participate in. In addition to that, we have actually organized a series of district community meetings. So, Jessica, you want to jump in with the dates for those?
Yes. So the public consultations are scheduled to begin next week, starting on Monday, the 22nd of April, and they'll continue until Wednesday, the 1st of May. The schedule is available on our website. So we'll shamelessly plug our website, oes.gov.ky. But just for your listeners' benefits, we've scheduled the consultations across a number of districts, hopefully making it a convenient option for all parents or members of the wider community. So Monday, 22nd of April, we're at 6 o'clock, and this is actually via Zoom. So you can stay at home and still partake in our community consultations. Tuesday, the 23rd of April, we're at John Gray in the Performance Hall, starting at 6 o'clock. Wednesday, the 24th of April, we are at 7 o'clock at the School Hall at the Eli McCoy Primary. Moving on to the next week, Monday, the 29th of April, we're actually going to be in the BRAC. So we'll be at Lehman Scott Senior High School in the School Hall starting at 6. And our final consultation meeting is Wednesday, the 1st of May, starting at 6:30 at John A. Cumber Primary in West Bay. So we really encourage parents, grandparents, even educators.
All interested persons.
Yes. to come and join us for one of the consultation meetings so they can provide their feedback on the framework for compulsory education and any changes, tweaks, revisions that they think are necessary.
I can see what you're sharing, so that in each district, even in the eastern districts, the different primary schools from Savannah to East End and all in between, the communities in those areas come central location, and what they say and share would help not just to impact the overall, but also there may be particular things for their particular district or the primary school. See with the back, and even the John Gray at our high school, likewise, our students going to leave their primary to go to the secondary school. You may not be a parent there yet, but your child may be going next academic or the one following. So coming and sharing and asking and figuring out, getting a leg up.
And of course, it's not just for the parents of the students that attend government schools, because the frameworks are applied across all. So even though we are using the spaces of the government schools, we of course also encourage the parents of students who are going to any of our private independent schools as well to attend.
Jessica, thank you. That was my supplementary.
I beat you to it.
No, listen, great minds think like they say. So thank you for letting me feel like I have a great mind. This is where we as the parents, doesn't matter which school our child is at now, doesn't matter where our child is in a government funded school or partial assisted through the government program, you're at a private school, your child is in school, and this applies to all schools.
Collectively, we should all be invested in the education of our children and young people.
As we speak to, Ms. Althea and our colleague, Ms. Jessica, talking about the Office of Education Standards, for those who are maybe unfamiliar with it, maybe they're somewhat, knowledgeable from other jurisdictions of similar things. As you revise, as you shared, your framework, inspection framework, and what, to that unfamiliar mind, are the things that you're looking for in order to assist in making the outcomes when you do your inspections, to not only be, as you said, more proactive and engaged, but assist in the delivery of the education? Are there particular things? I mean, somebody say, well, what's the lunch at the canteen like? But maybe it's the school hours, the school year. I'm just curious. Are there any things in particular that you want, or do you want any and everything from our stakeholders, from the parent to the student?
Well, obviously, the performance standards reflect the key areas in terms of quality educational provision. So whether it's attainment, students' progression in learning, their personal and social development, aspects of teaching, learning, assessment, the curriculum, health and safety, and nutrition is also encapsulated in health and safety, support and guidance, and aspects of leadership. So, like all jurisdictions, there are some key performance standards that inspectors use to evaluate the quality of provision in schools. But what we're hoping for is for our valued stakeholders to indicate, have we got the balance right? Post-COVID in particular, there's a lot of concern around children's emotional health and also the well-being of staff. Is that adequately reflected in our framework at this moment? Possibly not. We're looking at how it is that we can broaden leadership remit in terms of governance bodies. Obviously, that's a part of the private school program. It's not yet embedded within our government schools. Is that something we want to consider? COVID has actually indicated that children learn in a variety of ways. So outside the walls of the classroom, how it is that we're actually structuring remote learning, should that be a component in the framework? So it's having these very open conversations so that persons can share their insights and experiences. Obviously, we will not be able to take on board all the comments because that has to be managed in terms of what is effective practice, what is international best practice, and the relevance to our local context. But it's important for us to gather the views and perspectives of our stakeholders, or parents, or service providers, or teachers, or colleagues in the Department of Education Services and the Ministry of Education, and so on, in ensuring that the framework is fit for purpose. It reflects the aspirations that we have for our children and young people in the Cayman Islands. And as I said, it is sustainable. It reflects what is current good practice across the world.
And I'm so encouraged by not just your willingness to come here, but the idea that we will engage the public in this, and that there may be sort of the governance models in the private schools, as you ask, why can't something similar be part of the public schools? But likewise, there may be certain things that transpire in the public schools that the private schools could benefit. If we have that collaborative approach, the outcome is what's best for the student. How is that learning environment not just safe and nurturing and enriching, but it provides future citizens with something that improves. Now, with that in mind, Ms. Jessica, if I may then ask first for you, these things, in terms of education and expectations, they don't materialize overnight, and the impact, the beneficial impact, may take a child's school life to actually see that it was working. How do we give an assurance to the stakeholders that, listen, just as you drop the child off the first day of school at the early childhood center, and you're crying as much as the child, you're exhilarated when that child graduates and that final year, after matriculating from high school. How do we make sure that partnership continues and all these things? I recognize there's probably more of policy, but I'm thinking there's an opportunity that when we were revising the inspection framework, there may be things in there that we can capture. As an added sort of confusing point, we look out of the UK in their recent reports that they're seeing post-COVID in terms of the behaviors of students, the expectations that children will come in the early years with a certain ability level in terms of personal independence, and they don't. Their communication and speaking is lacking. But then there's also safety issues in terms of interaction and behavior. If they're happening in jurisdictions like UK, they may be transpiring here as well. So can parents, during these public consultations, inquire of your staff as to how our schools are looking like and get that honest feedback? Can they add commentary? Maybe Ms. Althea?
Well, all of our inspection reports are available on our website, oes.gov.ky, under Find an Educational Institution Report. So that's really the best place that parents could get that information. Okay. And it's all of the reports that have been done historically over the last couple of inspection cycles. You made an interesting comment about the word impact. And when we are doing inspections, that's an important part. So we're looking at what is the school doing, what are the teachers doing, and what's that impact on the children and on the students. So importantly, our frameworks, both of them, look at children and students' progress, which is a very important measure. So progress is what we would call a limiting judgment in the overall judgment of a school or of a center. And it has to do with progress. So even if children are perhaps not at the age-related expectations, it's about what progress are they making from their starting points. So that's a very important part of our inspections, is that measure of progress and what's the impact that the school, the teachers, the leaders are having on children.
I think
if I may add, because you did ask about how it is that we involve parents in the process. So when a school receives a notification of inspection, we do send out survey links that they distribute to parents, for example, staff and students, so that we poll their views on the quality, on their opinion on the quality of education in their schools. And that is also published in the reports that Jessica referenced. At the back of the report, there's that summary about the parents' views, the staff views, as well as the students' views about their school.
Perhaps, maybe for my edification more than else, when we're doing an inspection of a particular school and that link is sent to the parents and students and others who are at or connected to that school, is it also available for the wider public or just for that school? So that
no, just for the school.
Right. I thank you for clarifying. I think I knew that, and the reason why I was asking, just in case it's obvious, sometimes we have a perception about a school, but we're not connected to the school, and our perception is just somewhat misplaced because, so this way, what you get from those who are, at least should know, because they should be connected to the school in some way.
Absolutely.
All right. How, and too many times I don't think that we appreciate that, because education is ongoing and continual, and it's not something they sit and pass the test and you get a grade and that means you know everything. next year it may be a similar test on a similar subject, and you realize that it's a lot more than what you did prior. So with that in mind, as we are rewriting this inspection framework, as we're looking at the public consultation, and more important, as we're looking at what this is going to mean for future delivery of teaching and learning, how can you, A, give us a perspective of what else your office is planning for in your future iterations, and B, maybe we can get a head start on it now.
So the Office of Education Standards has a series of upcoming events. I'll ask Jessica to speak in depth to our early learning event in a little bit. But outside of the rewrite of the inspection framework, we have planned a joint activity, a learning event with the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit. It's dubbed Inspiring Progress, Raising Standards, a focus on the early childhood inspection framework. And part of the impetus for having this activity stemmed from the recent deployment of the early years inspection framework that has generated quite a bit of a buzz. Stakeholders are requesting further training so that they can fully become conversant with the new framework. So that is the starting point, and I'll ask Jessica to just go through some of the key areas that we'll be highlighting in that event.
So the learning event that's upcoming on Friday, the 31st of May, there's a quote that says the most valuable resource that teachers have is each other. Without collaboration, our growth is limited to our own perspective. And the learning event is really about that. It's an event in which teachers, leaders, center owners and managers and other key stakeholders in the early childhood community can really come together to learn from each other. So the learning event at the end of May will feature presenters, which are primarily from our local early childhood centers or any of our schools that have an early childhood phase, as well as some international colleagues, as well as us from the Office of Education Standards, and also our partners at the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit from the Ministry of Education. So we're looking at sessions covering various topics that are related to the new Early Childhood Inspection Framework, which is titled First Steps to Success, Nurturing Environments and Thriving Children. And we're looking at offering comprehensive insights into key aspects of that framework. So the presentations will really showcase practical strategies and initiatives which are aligned to different aspects of the framework, with presenters kind of demonstrating, explaining, showing videos, showing images of what they've done at their own center or school to be able to achieve that respective key aspect. So some of the topics that we're anticipating being featured at the learning event include integrating Caymanian culture and heritage into the early childhood curriculum. So this was a really important aspect of the new early childhood framework. So it's under Quality Indicator 4.1 curriculum. So we have some really great practitioners and centers that do that really well. So having them share their best practice and ideas with everyone else in the early childhood community on how that can be achieved and integrated. We're looking at topics like relationships and support for developing children's self-regulation. So we know self-regulation and developing that is critically important in the early childhood years. Self-evaluation and improvement planning. This is a really important part of the framework and also a really important part of school improvement. So being able, the self-evaluation is being able to sit back and reflect on what we're doing in our schools or in our centers. Where are we and where are we going to next? What do we need to do to continue to improve? Other topics that we'll see at the learning event include integrated learning experiences. So how is a center planning their curriculum, their learning environment, and children's learning so that multiple developmental domains are integrated, both in the indoor learning environment and also the outdoor learning environment. So a simple example would be children's pre-writing skills or early writing skills, traditionally, I think a lot of people would say that's more of an indoor learning environment activity, but it's about how can we also embrace those early mark-making opportunities in the outdoor learning environment as well. So that's kind of a simple example, but one which highlights that. And we'll also have a session on nurturing phonological awareness in early childhood education. So we know phonological awareness is a very critical pre-reading skill, and we know that it is one of the most reliable indicators of pre-reading success. So it's critical that we're building that strong foundation in the early childhood phase of education so that when children are moving to compulsory education in the earlier key stage 1 years, they're continuing to build upon that strong foundation and becoming competent readers. So that's kind of an outline of the event that we're anticipating for Friday, the 31st of May. We're expecting upwards perhaps of 130 attendees from each of our early childhood centers, as well as any of our schools that have an early childhood phase. So that would include our government primary schools that have reception, and we know some of them also have a nursery program now as well, like East End Primary or Creek and Spot Bay Primary in Cayman Brac have nursery programs, as well as any of the all-through private schools that also have nursery or early childhood provision. So we're quite excited about that upcoming event, which will really be a wonderful time of just that sharing of best practice.
So this is on the 31st of May, that Friday, all day?
Yes.
All day.
Where?
At the Compass Media Loft and Vault.
See that? Well, it's used to that building. No, but that is exciting because what you're sharing, just the two aspects, integrate the teaching and learning of Cayman culture. There may be perceptions. There may be things that we think were already there. We may think there are certain resources that are being accessed that aren't, or being accessed but not in the way that is most instructive. Shared back to best practices can help. With the phonics, we'll have would imagine it's not unlike other languages, but in the English language, that child is learning to read and to write initially, and you watch them write. The spelling is phonetic. If you look at how they write something, you understand.
Right, phonetically plausible words.
Yeah. And it is the greatest thing. I think that's how English should be, right? But when you learn different language, Jessica.
Well, English is a tricky language because
of
our...
Cool.
Most tricky.
All right. Mr. Lynn, do we need to take a break, sir? Wonderful people. I know you have an engaging schedule. We have time for you. You want to return for some closing comments and share some more, or what do you need, Miss Althea? You tell me.
Sure, we can do the wrap up. Yeah.
Thank you very much for. I know you take. Trust me, I know it's very taxing, but thank you to our parents. This is why we are where we are, and if we partner, we'll get even further.
Absolutely.
When we return, we ask you to please rejoin us.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. For all occasions and celebrations, let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
Get ready to laugh till your belly hurts. The Laughter Lounge Comedy Show is back at Camana Bay Cinema on Friday, April 19th. Doors swing open at 9 p.m. and the laughs kick off at 9:30 p.m. We've got comedians including the hilarious Daphne Springs from LA, Joel Byers from Atlanta, and Alfred Kanga hailing from Dallas and Zimbabwe. Brought to you by Laugh Cayman. You do not want to miss the funniest night of the year. Tickets and info at laughcayman.com or call 326-4510.
The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter will be taking appointments April 29th to May 5th at his Crew Road Clinic. Appointment slots are limited. Whether you are seeking advanced skincare, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email dr.porterkman@gmail.com or call 946-9020 to book your appointment today. That's 949-9020.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com. Every day, thousands of us use our roads.
I drive to work.
My dad drives me to school.
I make deliveries across the island.
But with every journey comes responsibility. Our actions behind the wheel can have serious consequences, so let's make a commitment to safety. The Cayman Islands government invites you to take the Safe Drivers Pledge. The pledge is our opportunity to show our dedication to creating a safer environment on our roads.
Do it for your community.
For your loved ones.
For yourself.
Let's make our roads safer together and say no more for 2024. Visit www.gov.ky/road safety for more information and to take the pledge.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, good afternoon, welcome back, and thanks to Ms. Althea Edwards Booth and her colleague Ms. Jessica Jackson from the Office of Education Standards for joining us. And I'm cognizant that as parents who are listening, who have students, their children still in their schools, public or private, are probably more inclined to look at the reports, to get involved with some of the inspections and the like. But I'm also asking us as a wider community. The students of today will be the future employers, potentially policymakers of tomorrow, but they're being impacted by what's happening now. So as we draw along, you've reminded us of some of the public sort of consultations and where they're coming. But tell us more. I mean, how do we get it? That partnership, Ms. Jessica, that you referenced prior to the break with the early childhood association is key. And these are those very, very early years of introducing the child to formal education.
Yeah, I think as the Office of Education Standards, even though we are separate from the Ministry of Education, all of the education bodies, so the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit, Department of Education Services, even the Private School Association, we're all working. So although our functions may look different in nature, we're all working towards that common goal. And we're all working towards, of course, improving outcomes and experiences for our children and for our students. Because as working in education, our students are always that central focus of what we're doing and why we're doing it. So we're really looking forward to this learning event that we have upcoming in May, building that collaborative relationship with the Early Childhood Care and Education Unit. And I'll let Ms. Althea perhaps talk about some other partnerships and collaborations and that we have planned coming up as well.
So let me jump into the next steps in terms of the forward focus for the Office of Education Standards. We're keen to design and implement an agile system of monitoring and evaluation that is responsive to the unique demands of the current education landscape. We want to ensure that the inspection framework, as I said earlier, is sustainable and it's adaptive and meets the needs of our children and the future needs as well. So that said, we have for some time been exploring the idea of a risk-based model of inspection, and we considered implementing this as a mechanism to accelerate progress and to raise standards in our school. What it is, a risk-based inspection model is a system of evaluating and assessing educational institutions by prioritizing resources and attention on those schools that are deemed to have a higher level of risk in terms of educational quality, compliance with regulations, and overall performance. So the planned approach is to remove those schools that have received 2 consecutive judgments of good or excellent from the 4-year cycle, to give those school leaders a little bit more autonomy and relieve them of the kind of intrusive, intensive inspection process. And that would allow the Office of Education Standards team to concentrate and allocate greater resources to raising standards, promoting improvement in our weak and satisfactory schools. As you would have seen from our last progress report, we have a balloon of satisfactory schools. High commendation to the government sector that we now have no weak schools in government, but yet we have a relatively large number of schools that are satisfactory. How do we then accelerate that movement, getting them to good? And we think the strategy of a risk-based inspection is a primary means of getting that job done.
You sort of almost lead me want to say something, but because we're all civil servants and some of us not always at a policy level, we're not elected, I'll share with you a thought, because it's about best practices. And we tend to look many times at regional or international things, but sometimes it's across the hall. It's the school next door. And with this opportunity for public consultation, it is us, the public, because the education of our child at 3 will certainly impact that child's education year after year, but will materialize when the child's 30 and sometimes even a little bit sooner. But it's not going to be from one day to the next. Education, Ms. Jessica, they say is equalizing and empowering, but sometimes we expect too much immediate returns without appreciating that it has to be a long-term commitment. Now, if I might then ask, that 4-year cycle, 2-year cycle, as you referenced, has been revised with the notion, as I invite you for your final thoughts. Those schools, Ms. Althea.
May I interject?
Yes, ma'am.
That it's a planned approach.
Yeah.
It's not yet approved. So we're in discussions with the Education Council. Obviously, the Minister of Education or Premier would have to give her stamp of approval to that. But we think that's the way forward.
Yeah. It takes the, it's my perspective, mine only. It's very much like 2 things. The child who has, or the parent has 2 children. One has demonstrated a greater sense of autonomy. You still keep an eye on the child, but you work in allowing the younger or the other one to see the example, to help to develop. This is how you tie your shoelaces. See how your little sister does it? You teach them. You don't need to go tie the shoelaces, the one that already knows how to tie shoelaces. And you don't buy them Velcro. Right? Teach them. So it's kind of like that. And that would make sense.
It kind of goes along the premise, too, is that fair is not that everybody gets the same, but fair is that everybody gets what they need. So it kind of goes along that premise, too, with the risk-based inspection methodology.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You don't need to be doing the same thing over in the same space for the same people who have benefited. And maybe others may need a little bit more, a little bit sooner.
We have to move away from the one-size-fits-all inspection model and tailor it to meet the needs of our educators and students.
Former Premier in the last government, and now Sir Alden, he used the word that many of us became, for the first time introduced to, bespoke. And it's ever since become a part of our vocabulary. So, see, from the hairstyle that he has to the job, he's making an impact. Or Sir Alden, he's going to pay. And the final thoughts, and to you and your team, Ms. Althea and Jessica, please always let us know how we can help to publicize any events, to share in any which way, because education is not just for today, and it's not just for one individual. Any final thoughts, Ms. Althea?
Obviously, we're deeply appreciative of the opportunity to get the word out and to engage with the public. Just want to encourage all our listeners to tap in, tune in, go to our website, www.oes.gov.ky, to get a sense of upcoming events, ensure that you attend one of those public consultations. Your insights, your perspectives are important to us and will shape and inform the next iteration of the inspection framework. So we want all our stakeholders who are invested in education to support the process.
And that starts next Monday and concludes on Wednesday the 1st. Those public.
Yes. Check our website again, oes.gov.ky. We'll say it a third time for all of the dates and the times. The session on Monday is in a virtual space via Zoom, so the meeting ID is on our website. So if you can't make a physical meeting, please do join us virtually.
Doesn't matter if your child is in that school or is in public or private. This applies to all students in all schools.
That's absolutely a great question. So even though it's being held at John Gray, it's kind of just a central location. It's not just for John Gray parents. It is for anyone that lives in that area or perhaps is convenient because they're on their way home from work in Georgetown. So it is not specific to the school, but just find a location that works for you, your schedule, your location, and come and join us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's going to be great, man. I'm looking forward to being a grandparent. School's going to be good. Again, if we can help in any way, please publicly accept the invitation to always be here. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Well.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to be encouraged and inspired to offer up a little thank you to our listeners. Who needs a little love? Well, we're going to show it to them. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
From boat days to beach gatherings, leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway box to go with the option of 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips for all occasions and celebrations. Let Subway focus on the food so you can focus on the fun. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. And I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Let me tell you something. I've been fishing our island since I was a boy, and it's getting harder and harder to get a good catch. Maybe it's because there are so many more people in Cayman than ever before. Maybe it's because of how the climate is changing. I don't know about that, but I do know that I want to be able to keep fishing and teach my children to fish one day as well. So it makes sense to me that we have certain areas and certain times of the year to fish for certain things. It feels unfair not to be allowed to fish where my dad had taught me to fish, but I know that being patient now means we can keep fishing for many more generations. We're all in this together, right?
For more info, download the Cayman DOE app or visit doe.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. And the phone lines are open. There is some open line now for the remainder of the program. 949-8037, 949-6990. I want to say thanks to all of our guests. And today we had the opportunity to start it off with our good friends over at UCCI, Dean Belinda and Dr. Livingston. Tell us about their graduate programs. 3 programs. There's the Master Human Resource Management. And then they have the one through the Commonwealth of Learning facilitated by the Government of Canada for the Masters in Public Admin as well as the MBA. So deadline for local scholarships, as Dr. Shari reminded us, ends the end of this month. And for UCCI, you apply. Education sometimes we don't always appreciate it until they down the road. But with that in mind, also our last guest, Ms. Althea and Ms. Jessica from the Office of Education Standards, and the partnerships that between parent and school, between the wider community, irrespective of whether your child is in a quote-unquote public school or private school, their inspectorate will look at all schools. So some public consultations coming up as they propose to rewrite the inspection framework for all of their compulsory education. Office of Education Standards, oas.gov.ky is their website. Now, how can we say thank you to some of our listeners? There is the Laughter Lounge Comedy Show coming up on, well, that's tomorrow. We got 2 tickets we want to give to our listeners. DJ Lynn, should we give 2 tickets to one person or 1 ticket to 2 people? 949-8037, 949-6990. Let's call and share, and I'll decide. We do it 2 ways, huh? You tell me which way is best. Caller number 2, caller number 22, or the caller that's willing to tell me a joke. What should we do? 949-8037, 949-6990. As we go to the phones. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. I heard you announcing something about who calls first or something like that.
No, I didn't say it like that, but since you're the caller who was listening most attentively and had the quick of draw to get it, we were going to provide 2 tickets for Laughter Lounge, which is taking place tomorrow. And looking at the calendar, realizing that today is, Thursday. And it's going to be at the Commander Bay Cinema at 9 p.m. The Laughter Lounge, the Cayman Comedy Show. So it's on Grand Cayman. So 2 tickets. We hadn't decided yet. What's your advice? You're in the BRAC, right? Are you going to be over in Grand Cayman tomorrow?
No, sir, definitely not.
Okay. So help us then.
I would ask someone to come and pick it up, or otherwise, is it transferable to a friend or a family member?
Yeah,
in
sure.
Grand Cayman?
Sure, we could do that too. I mean, because you're not going to be able to get across for them to go to the show. You'll give it to them. But what should we have done? Should we have said caller number X, caller number 2, 3, or 23? Or should we say, hey, to that caller that calls in and gives us a little bit of comedy, tells us a joke? What would you have suggested that we should do to award the winner of these 2 tickets? What would be your preference? The caller, number X, number 2, number 22, or the caller that tells us a joke? Which would have been a better way to give away the tickets? Mr. Raymond?
Yes, sir.
Which
Yeah,
one? Which one should we have approached it? because you were deliberating.
There was a break in the transmission.
Okay.
Just repeat that.
All right,
again.
so we were...
I'm in a bad location, seems like.
Yeah, boy. I would almost venture to offer up a joke, but some people would say, boy, they're not too funny. You know? So we were deliberating out loud whether, in order to give away the tickets, we were trying to decide two things. The first thing is, do we give the 2 tickets to one person, or do we give, 2 tickets to 2 people? First question. What would you do? 2 tickets to 2 people or 1 ticket to 2 people?
2 tickets to 2 people.
Make it fair? So
2 tickets, because that could be a husband and wife would benefit from 2 tickets, or girlfriend and boyfriend. But just being one is just one.
Okay, so give the 2 tickets to
each.
Okay, give the 2 tickets to that one person. Not 2 tickets to 2 people. Okay. Then
Yes,
second.
2 tickets to 2 people. 2 tickets to 2 people.
Right. Well, yeah, that'd be 4 tickets, right? But so what you're saying is, if I heard your explanation and understand it, you want us to give that one person who calls both tickets, give out the 2 tickets so that person can take somebody else.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Then the second question, thanks for helping us to figure that out. The second question we were trying to decide is, should we give the ticket to the second caller, the third caller, the 10th caller, or should we give the ticket to somebody who is courageous enough to call us and say, hey, I got to tell you a joke. I mean, sometimes you got to work before you get paid. Which one then you think we should have done?
I would say to the third caller.
Man, what do you think? We should do that? Because, I mean, we could make an executive decision override it. We could say, but why not? Second or third caller? You're the first caller. All right. So you want us to give it to caller number 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That's what you're thinking?
Yes. Something in a serious similarity to that, yes.
Okay. Well, I'll take it under advisement and I'll deliberate about it before I go to the break. So that's what you were calling for, or was there something else you want to share with us?
Yes, it was something else. I wanted to give an update to the public about the seriously grounded luxury yacht has been refloated yesterday evening, and it's now on the mooring just abreast my place at West End.
Okay.
That it went a very successful refloating operation.
Awesome.
Using a boat pulling on it, and one of the biggest wheel loaders on Cayman Brack was at the bow, the stern of the ship, stern of the yacht.
Okay.
Lifting and pulling at the same time, having the loader in reverse.
Yeah. But any damage to the yacht? Any damage to the keel, the props, or the leg? I mean, do you know?
Yes, it has some damage. That is right. It has some damage, and they brought it alongside Scott's dock late yesterday evening, and they were assessing the situation. And after it's repaired temporarily, it will be towed to Grand Cayman for total repairs down there.
Okay. And now, in your opinion and to your knowledge, what caused the yacht to get grounded?
The rope parted down on the seabed that the mooring was attached to.
Okay.
That's what I was told. The mooring rope for the buoy parted on the bottom where it was connected down at the seabed.
Okay.
And the captain and his wife was asleep. That night, 11 o'clock Friday night, if they had heard my call, it would not have happened. I called them 5 times.
So was it the weather? There was some weather coming in?
Yeah, it was the weather, yes.
So she shifted moorings
and then... A norther came in.
Okay, all right.
It was at the mooring, and a norther came in northeastern. The seas were up to about 6 feet running, and it was pitching and rolling heavily, and it just parted the rope down on the bottom. I called them around 11 o'clock 5 times. Doghouse is the boat's name, but nobody answered me. There was another sailing boat in the area and called that. Also, nobody answered. They were all asleep.
Possibly,
and, yes, if they had heard my call, because I was going to instruct him to leave immediately and go to the south coast of the island, get away because bad weather is coming. I have been doing that dozens and dozens of times for the safety of life at sea. That's my motto, doing that kind of thing. And 3 o'clock Saturday morning now, the police knocked on my door to awaken me to let me know, which was very good of them to let me know that this yacht had gone aground, because they know that I'm the one on the radio to get the tug or something around to pull it back
Yes, sir.
off.
Yes, sir.
But nothing was around at that time. And then I contacted the man that I know that salvages all the yachts and boats in the Cayman Islands as soon as the light broke.
Right.
And he flew up that afternoon and assessed the situation. Then we were waiting on approval from the DOE so that this salvage operation could take place. And then that must have been granted. I was on the talk show Monday morning stating that we need to expeditiously continue and get this boat off before any further damage, such as cracking the hull and spilling diesel on the nice sandy beach right there by Scott's Dock area.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, that was Monday morning. I was on with Mr. O.C., and then yesterday everything was finalized, and they started the salvage operation, refloating operation, and it went very successful yesterday evening at 7 minutes to 5. It was floated away from the grounded bar.
Okay. Mr. Raymond, always timely, informative, source of information. We do have the news break that my apologies to our team across the table. We're 4 minutes late for. Let us take that and take your advice on board and give you those tickets when we come back. Thank you, Mr. Raymond.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. All the best, sir. To our listeners, stay tuned.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bride. Cover me.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Cayman Islands Fire Service sees its first female team member achieve certification as an aviation in-house certified pump engineer. Amelia Giuseppe says her achievement is, quote, pivotal in ensuring the efficient operation of Cayman's state-of-the-art aviation appliances. 2 alleged spies suspected of planning to sabotage German military aid for Ukraine have been arrested in the southern German state of Bavaria. The 2 men, described as dual Russian-German nationals, were detained in Beirut on suspicion of spying for Russia. The Interior Minister said authorities had prevented, quote, possible explosive attacks. The men are accused of scouting U.S. military facilities and other sites. Scientists say a deadly heat wave in West Africa and the Sahel was, quote, impossible without human-induced climate change. Temperatures soared above 48 degrees Celsius in Mali last month, with one hospital linking hundreds of deaths to the extreme heat. Researchers say human activities like burning fossil fuels made temperatures up to 1.4 degrees Celsius hotter than normal. A separate study on drought in southern Africa said El Nino was to blame rather than climate change. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us as we end this today's show. I want to thank Mr. Raymond for 2 things. One, always providing very timely and informative, tidbits about what's happening. Keeps us up to date on the maritime affairs. And secondly, guiding us. As he said, we have 2 tickets to give away to the Laughter Lounge for the Cayman Comedy Show tomorrow evening. So we're going to give away 2 tickets to 1 person. There's a debate. There are 2 tickets. Maybe we give 1 to one and 1 to another. And then we were thinking, well, should we call in number 4 or call in number 54? Or should we give it to the caller that tells us a joke. So, Lynn, quietly and privately, I'll only be me that would hear. Let me ask you. Mr. Raymond said, give it to the caller who calls, whether it's 4 or 44. And I said, nah, give it to the caller who tells us a joke. What would you suggest? A joke or a caller? What do you think? I mean, I have my preference. What with Kathy? She probably has her preference. Come on, Lynn. What would you tell me? Whisper it. Tell me. You want to give it to the caller? Kathy, caller or give it to the one that tells a joke? Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to override everybody else. I want to hear a joke today. It doesn't have to be a good joke, and it could be your joke. You could read it from the internet. So the first caller that calls and tells me a joke. It could be a riddle. It could be the one about the priest, the pastor, and the politician that goes into the bar and they order a drink. I don't know. I want to hear a joke today. Hey, you choose. Because think about it, right? This is a comedy show. We got stand-up comics coming in. And tomorrow, just so you know, Mr. Rod Jefferson will come in. Hopefully some of the comedians will join him. And they're going to be on our show tomorrow. I'm not going to be here. So that's why I want to hear a joke now. All right? I got a couple of other things I need to do. And I can't be in two places at the same time. So thanks to Ms. Paulette for allowing me to put, in this case, something that is there. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon. Is it going to be the caller or is it going to be the joke? Which one is it?
Hey, listen, it's you, my friend. You can give me a joke, man. I want to hear it.
Sterling, look here. You know what I just heard? You know what I just heard?
Tell me.
Aspirin kill pee.
Aspirin kill.
Well, you see, it's not really a funny joke, but we are on national radio, therefore I can't give any sort of jokes that would be controversial. But I'll give you another joke.
Yeah. I hear you. Listening. Talk to me. Quince, you there?
Yeah, man. I'm here.
Give me the other joke, man. You got another one for me?
Lord, I can see why I don't get hired for comedy shows anymore. I can't do a joke.
But you see, right?
Oh my Lord!
It's not interesting, right? I know you're a great storyteller. I know, like many people, when we're put on the spot, that impromptu, the improv, right? How challenging it is for many people to speak extemporaneously, right? There are those of us who can read a joke, but I call it the gift of actually telling a joke. Got a lot of good friends, and I got a brother in particular. They'll tell me a joke, and it's absolutely funny. But for some of us to try to repeat that joke, it's the delivery, it's the context. We set it up, and we don't do this well. Now, I like to laugh, and laughter is good medicine, and there are only two things that are better than laughing, right? So, see? Laughter is good medicine.
And I got it.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go.
The only truth. And look here.
Yeah, man.
I also realized that we're on national radio, a government radio station.
So, yeah.
One has to cut the garment according to the cloth, and you got to be careful what you say. You understand what I'm trying to say? Boom.
Yeah, but hear me now, right? You see, this is the beauty, right, of the ability to use language in such a way that sometimes some people, their message, even the joke itself, at least to my ears, gets lost because of the expletives, the intonation. And then there are others who are just sufficiently suggestive enough in what they say. It's kind of like what I like with calypso music, the double entendre that you can have at times, right? Those old movies that we used to watch, and there's the couple, and you can see that little thing that's transpiring as they look at each other, and that was all you saw. And then the next morning, you see a smile. You left to infer, how the evening went. Nowadays, man, it's so well. Anyway, that's a different story, right? So,
yes, but I follow exactly what you're saying. How times have changed.
They have indeed, my friend.
I'll give you a quick song though. When I think about DD, the late Dalvin Ebanks, one of our first Caisonians, Caymanian, West Bay Caisonians and Calypsonians. Da 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 da. But a young woman said to me one time, she said, "You know how long I want to meet you, Mr. Quincy. You are one of the best performing artists in this country. And before you leave tonight, the girls start to laugh. So I want you to take out your pen and give me your autograph. What kind of pen you talking about?
So, Quincy, you on Grand Cayman now. You want to go to the Laughter Lounge tomorrow night?
No, I'm not allowed to go to the Laughing Lounge tomorrow night because I'm in Grand Cayman under some very heavy restrictions from a judge.
Right. So, with your acquiescence, right, we're going to say you won the tickets, and in your honor, we're going to give it to somebody else. How about that?
I would really like for you, Mr. Moderator, to give somebody else a chance to get some good laughter.
Yeah, man.
Look here, laughter is good medicine.
All right.
And, we have to...
All right. So we got a final break to take, right? Before we go, anything you want to share or say to our listeners?
Well, if I may, because I didn't call in to try to win a ticket,
I know.
So happened I called in and I got put on air.
There you go.
I want to encourage our listeners to be kind to one another.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind to one another. I see a lot of road rage, people speeding. Be kind. Let somebody in. Somebody's trying to come in. Don't speed. Don't drink and drive. And I also want to encourage our listeners to don't drink, don't use drugs. Look here, if sobriety was easy, everybody would be sober. So many people go home each evening after they knock off from work with their bottle of vodka or their apple corn, and they get drunk in the privacy of their homes. No one knows they're stay-at-home drinkers.
Yeah.
Be kind to one another. Do not judge. I have to give my urine sample every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. My urine is clean. But I cannot get a job in the Cayman Islands. Yet I will not call names. I could, but I will not call names of persons working in various government departments that if they should do a urine sample right now, they would test positive for drugs. It is what it is.
Yeah, man. Well, Quincy, you know what? Sometimes we fail to acknowledge and to identify the obvious. But it may not only be within government departments. It may be in private sector. It may be, as you say, that individual that is privately employed or not at all, because the person has independent means, as it were. So thank you for asking us to look with kindness and love and a sense of compassion. When we come back from the break, caller number 4, we're going to take each one. So you better get in the queue. 949-8037, 949-6990. 2 tickets to one person to go to the Laughter Lounge Cayman Comedy Show tomorrow evening. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Digicel has teamed up with Capella. We're giving away tickets for you and a friend to attend Cayman's biggest music festival. Win 2 Capella tickets. Simply activate a 30-day Prime Max plan or be an active postpaid customer and you could be our lucky winner. Don't miss out on this epic event. Go to your nearest Digicel store today or the My Digicel app for your chance to win. Digicel. Better connected.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square, and I got find my way to Barbados. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana, plus Barbados. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
This is Catherine Ebanks Wilkes, and as the representative for West Bay Central and the Ministry for Sustainability and Climate Resiliency, I am concerned that our islands are at a high risk of loss and damage to seagrass beds. Stronger storms, warmer sea temperatures, and sea level rise can destroy seagrass beds. Culturally and economically important animals like green sea turtles and conch need seagrass to survive. To learn more about the climate risk to our islands, visit www.gov.ky/climate change policy.
There is still time to register for the 2024 Deputy Governor's 5K Challenge. Upcoming races will be in Little Cayman on April 21st and Grand Cayman on April 28th. Registration is $25 for adults and $10 for children under 18. To register, visit www.racecaribbean.net. If you have any questions, you can email dg5k@gov.ky.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Thanks for joining us. And as we shared, we got some tickets today, Laughter Lounge, comedy show tomorrow evening. And we're asking for somebody to tell us a joke. Quincy called in. He said he didn't, can't take the tickets, but he was offering up a joke. But we got a caller, I'm told, who's willing to give us a joke. Let's judge and see what we think. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello, am I on the air?
You are on the air, as far as I'm told.
I'll tell you what, I just enjoyed that radio ad that you just played for our national carrier, Cayman Airways. Love them and love the fabulous job they do. And I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that in order to explore and expand their services to a new demographic, they're considering setting up a separate airlines specifically geared towards bald men. And if they do, and if it comes to fruition, they're going to call it Receding Airlines. Ba-dum-bum.
That sounds the kind of joke that I would probably try to tell. Now, you get success with that joke? I mean, is that a good one for you?
I've never told it before, and I got it on Facebook, but it's the only clean joke I know, and I know that the rest of my repertoire might not be suitable for airplay.
There you go. Well, I'll share this with you. All right, it certainly meets one of the criteria: clean. The second joke part of that, I'm sure. All right. Well, you know what? I like the courage. I like the idea you put some thought into it, right? And so two things. They on the line will give you the particulars when you get the information for you. But from me to you, right? Cayman. Cayman Airways, Cayman Islands. I got some friends and family who's like you, employ the accent and say it in a way, but it's Cayman, right? So before I dismiss and ask you to give a good friend across the table your particulars so you can collect these 2 tickets from here at Radio Cayman. Let's me just say it together. Is it Cayman? Can we say
Cayman?
No, that's Cayman. There you go. You see that? That gives you. But thanks for listening, man. Are you going to enjoy tomorrow evening's the Cayman Comedy Club?
Well, we'll find out.
We'll find out. Well, okay. So on Monday, you call us back and either your favorite joke from there or your critique. We want to hear from you. But thanks for playing along. Thanks for sharing the jokes. So Receding Airlines, huh?
Receding Airlines.
I wonder what the first class lounge would be called. All right, stay in the line. The tickets will be here. I actually have them in my possession. And thanks to Rod Jefferson and the team over there. Now, I'm going to try. I'm not going to be hosting tomorrow. I got to do something else. And it just happens to have been scheduled for this time. I have no control over that. But it's important, and it has to be done. If it was for me, I would change it, but it's not. So I can't, and I won't, because it's necessary. I'm told there was another caller in the queue. We'll see what we can do. And when Mr. Rod comes on tomorrow with the comics that are visiting for the performance tomorrow evening at 9 o'clock. I can't tell you. I'm not speaking for him. He might say he has another ticket that he might give away or can. Or we'll ask and we'll inquire and we'll see. Let's take this call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi. How are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm fine.
I'm glad to hear that. I always like when, people share their perspective. So share with us.
Well, I don't know that I have a joke to share. I just happened to call because I think I'd like to go to the comedy show because I'm visiting the island.
You're visiting the island?
Yes.
All right. Well, now you see, my team behind the table, they always be saying stuff and I can't repeat what they share. So tell me, is this your first visit? Quiet, Dr. Lynn. Is this your first visit, Mom?
No, it's not my first visit, but it's my first visit in a long time.
A long time. More than 5 years? More than 10 years? Less than 5 years?
Less than 5.
Okay. Now, only because, I obviously want to be respectful and not cause people to share anything publicly in terms of their, space and place so that we protect their privacy, but also their person. You want to tell us where you're visiting from? Anything you want to tell us about it?
From the USA.
Okay, that's a fairly big country. And what do you like about Cayman?
Oh, the people are always friendly. You feel welcome as soon as you get off the plane. Most of the encounters at the airport are usually very friendly.
Okay, yeah. I kind of think it's not a bad place myself, Now, what we'll do, right? As we were talking, I was just trying to interact with Mr. Rod Jefferson, who, from Executive Services, putting together this Laughter Lounge. And like I said, he'll be on tomorrow. We'll see if we can be preemptive and say, hey, we got a caller visiting. And I think you said you wanted 40 tickets. Was that the case? Or just
No.
No, you didn't say that.
2 would be good.
All right. Can we can do 2 things. Or we can ask him and you can leave your details and our team here would contact you if he says yes. Or you can hold on to your details and we'll inquire and then you can call back and check and see if he did. What would you feel more comfortable with?
Well, I can leave my details with you.
Okay. There's a gentleman, you know him as DJ Lynn. He's going to take your particulars, right? And so we'll message Rod and we'll say, this transpired. Are you able to share with us so we can share with our listeners? Because laughter is good medicine, right?
Yes, it is. The
And
best medicine.
the more people in the audience laughing, the better the fun and the more love that can be shared.
I agree.
All right. Anything else you want to tell us before we let you take leave and give DJ Lynn the information so we can contact you once we know from Rod?
Well, I know the beaches have always been beautiful. I haven't, since it's been about 5 years, I know there's lots of change along the beaches, but I'm determined to go on Saturday.
Okay, well, I hope you get to go. I'm told that there might be some weather. I haven't confirmed that with my brothers. I know what people have said. Until they tell me, I won't believe it. I just kidding. So you go out, enjoy it, be absolutely safe, but absolutely have the best time of your life. All right?
Thank you very much.
All right, stay on the line, please. Now, again, tomorrow, Rod will come on. He'll bring the visiting stand-up comics. Catherine Tyson has agreed to host for me while I go and do, what needs to be done. And take some time and relax. I say this in closing as we look. What we say and what we do and the way we say it, no matter our position or even the pay sometimes that we get, it doesn't preclude us from being a person of character and integrity. And we often hear people quoting the scriptures and saying humility before honor. And that is true. And I've heard it a long, long time ago. From my perspective, I probably interpreted or reinterpreted, certainly applied it. The greatest exercise of power is restraint. If you are in a place where you can dictate and define how people's lives are going to be determined, it's a lot of power. Now, do you exercise it judiciously? Do you use that in a way just to show who you are? Some people do, some people don't. Often they say if you got to tell people you're the boss, you're probably not. And I ask, in saying that, for those of us, from the parent to the police officer, from that pastor who has great sway through his eloquence and position over his flock, to the politician who can exact certain things, who can use the parliamentary privileges and immunities, not just in Cayman, not just in the region, I'm talking globally, because the Cayman community of today is highly interconnected with the world through our friends and families who are elsewhere in our own travels and business dealings. Let's be mindful, as Quincy, who called earlier, who reminded us that we've seen a lot of things happen in our society. Words like road rage were, very much played and bantered about in international media, but it's seemingly creeping into our society, and not just in media accounts, but in the behaviors that we're observing on the roads. We heard words like mass shootings, and other media runs with it. You can get into why they say it, and maybe they just copying things and without consequence. Maybe they're being malicious and deliberate and trying to redefine the Cayman landscape. Let's not ignore what is unfolding. I don't believe it's wise for anybody to see something bad and pretend that if it doesn't exist, it's not there, it won't exist, it won't affect you. Now, many times we are very, very preemptive. We believe something's going to happen, and we jump on it quickly. It may be a good thing, but with a little bit more patience and diligence, a little bit careful consideration and discussion with others, we may find, well, the thing that we thought we should do, we shouldn't, because the thing that we thought would happen wasn't going to. But then there are times when we need to be proactive, and there are times when, in our response to something that we ignored, can be a little bit better if it's not from an emotive perspective. Easier said than done, I granted. I say that to say again that earlier I had an experience where it was almost as if, imagine you're going before the principal because the teacher sent you for something. You know that you didn't do something that should have been done, or didn't do it in the time that it was supposed to. Whatever the case is, but the person who sits, not so much in adjudication, but sits and makes herself available, sits and tries to understand. He shares in a way that, okay, let's help so that the outcome is the desired outcome. It's not about punishing. It's about ensuring that the right thing is done. We can learn a lot. Think of parents who, oftentimes it's at a stage in life that the children are grown, who can look back and say, Mama, Daddy always did this. They were firm and fair. They always looked out for our best interests. Look at the teacher, likewise, who could look at the child, didn't have to say anything, didn't even have to, wave the finger from side to side. You just knew. And it wasn't so much that you were not trying to disappoint that person. You just knew that there was a particular standard that was consistent. And that person's example has always been one that was so, elevated, because the person had integrity, acted with humility, with compassion. Then think sometimes to where you see someone and we wonder to what extent they've been relegated to the margins. They've been redefined by others because they're quiet and unassuming. Well, our society is better when people do better. Have an excellent afternoon. Please join Mr. Art tomorrow morning for the record. God's willing, I'll see you on Monday. I'm excited for tomorrow. Catherine Tyson will host the show, Rod Jefferson, and let me give you, I could give you the lineup of what's coming on, but let me see if I can access and open it. No, I should, but Miss Tyson has been great to do. It's all good. It's all good. Have a great afternoon. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay.